Hello everyone, greetings. The Bhagavad Gita is one of the most important scriptures in Hindu philosophy. It is a 700 verse dialogue between Prince Arjuna and Lord Krishna, which is part of the Indian epic Mahabharata, specifically the section known as the Bhishma Parva. The Bhagavad Gita takes place during the Kurukshetra War, a great battle between two factions of a royal family, the Pandavas and the Kauravas. The conflict stems from a dispute over the rightful claim to the throne of Hastinapura, leading to tensions and disagreements between the two sides. The Pandavas, led by Arjuna, represent justice and righteousness, while the Kauravas, led by Duryodhana, symbolize greed and unrighteousness. The Gita arose as Arjuna faced a moral and emotional crisis on the battlefield. He was filled with doubt, fear, and a sense of duty's burden, knowing that he would have to fight against his own family's member, beloved teachers, and friends. Arjuna was torn between his duty as a warrior and the ethics of killing those who he loved. This inner turmoil led him to question the purpose of life, duty, and righteousness. In this moment of deep confusion, Arjuna turns to his charioteer, Lord Krishna, for guidance. Krishna reveals his divine nature and delivers a spiritual discourse to Arjuna. The Bhagavad Gita is the essence of this conversation, where Krishna provides Arjuna with insights on various spiritual and philosophical topics. The teachings addresses fundamental questions about the nature of the self, the purpose of life, the concept of dharma, and the paths to spiritual liberation. Krishna explains that the soul is eternal and beyond physical destruction, emphasizing the importance of selfless action without attachment to the results. He also outlines various paths to spiritual realization, including Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and Jnana Yoga. In essence, the Bhagavad Gita provides a guide for living a balanced, purposeful life, encouraging individuals to act according to their duties while remaining spiritually aware. The discourse empowers Arjuna to rise above his doubts and fulfill his responsibilities as a warrior, leading to his readiness to fight in the Kurukshetra War. I'll be explaining all the chapter of Bhagavad Gita, so let's start today with chapter 1, Arjuna's Dilemma. The first chapter of Bhagavad Gita is titled Arjuna Vishad Yoga, which translates to the yoga of the despondency of Arjuna. This chapter sets the stage for the spiritual and philosophical teachings of the Bhagavad Gita and describes the circumstances that led to Arjuna's inner conflict. The chapter opens on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, where the two armies of Kauravas and the Pandavas are assembled, ready to engage in a great war. Dhritarashtra, the blind king of the Kauravas, asks Sanjay, his charioteer, to narrate the events unfolding on the battlefield. Sanjay, who has been granted divine vision by the sage Vyas, begins to describe the scene. Sanjay describes how both armies are arranged and ready for battle. The mighty Kaurava army, led by Duryodhana, stands facing the Pandavas. Duryodhana approaches his teacher, Dronacharya, and points out the strength of the opposing side, acknowledging the power of warriors present in both armies. He lists great warriors like Bhishma, Drona, Karna, and others on his side, as well as Arjuna, Bhima, and other Pandavas on the opposite side. He emphasizes the power of his own army but also recognizes the skill of the Pandavas. The Kaurav army is led by Bhishma, who blows his conch to signal the beginning of the war. In response, Krishna, acting as Arjuna's charioteer, and the Pandavas also blow their conches, creating a thunderous sound across the battlefield, symbolizing the impending conflict. As both armies prepare for battle, Arjuna asks Krishna to position his chariot in the middle of the battlefield so he can see those assembled against him. As he observes his relatives, teachers, friends, and loved ones on both sides, Arjun is overcome with sorrow and compassion. He sees people he deeply cares about, including his beloved grandfather Bhishma and his revered teacher Dronacharya, standing with the enemy. The thought of killing them in battle becomes unbearable. Overwhelmed with grief, Arjun is filled with doubt and moral confusion. He drops his bow and arrow and declares that he cannot fight. He questions the value of a kingdom and victory if it comes at the cost of the lives of his family members and loved ones. Arjun worries about the destruction of families, the collapse of social and moral order, and the consequences of such devastations. He expresses his fear about the sense of killing one's relatives and how it would lead to a spiritual downfall. Arjuna's sorrow deepens and he becomes despondent. His mind is clouded by attachment and compassion, and he feels completely paralyzed, unable to act. He explains his distress to Krishna, admitting that he is confused about his duty and the righteousness of the war. Arjuna's grief and the confusion mark the culmination of this chapter, setting the stage for the teachings that Krishna will impart in the following chapters. Chapter 1 concludes with Arjun in a state of emotional turmoil, seeking guidance from Krishna. This chapter highlights the universal human struggle with moral dilemmas and the challenges of making decisions in difficult situations.